Get Macy's lowest prices of the season on specials for cooler weather, like cute boots and booties starting at $27.99. And warm new coats for all, 50 to 60% off. And get cafe-style coffee at your fingertips with select Nespresso bundles for only $124.99, now at Macy's. Plus, get your Macy's order faster when you pick up curbside or in store. Or try same-day delivery powered by DoorDash. Savings off sale and clearance prices. Exclusions apply.
For the last 75 seasons, the NBA has been getting greater. It's been crossing over, crossing borders, bending minds, breaking barriers, and shattering expectations. Because if the league's taught us one thing, it's that we can't predict anything. So don't miss 1 minute of the 75th anniversary season, where greatness lives on in every game. Visit NBA.com/75 to learn more.
Hey, this is BJ. Thanks for listening to our show's podcast. If you're a fan of all things geeky, you should check out my other podcast, BJ Shea's Geek Nation. We have new episodes every day, and you can check it out at bjgeeknation.com.
Your driver's license is important so you can get back and forth to work, get your kids to school, and back and forth to daycare. If your license has been suspended because you can't pay your tickets, you can't do any of those things. Let's talk about Chapter 13 bankruptcy. You may have heard the tickets cannot be discharged, but they can be dealt with in a Chapter 13 case. Why not come in for a free consultation? The chapter you choose will make all the difference to your getting back legally on the road. Let's design a plan to pay off your tickets and restore your license immediately. I'm attorney Travis Gagne. Please contact me today at choosetherightchapter.com. That's choosetherightchapter.com.
99.9 KISW, The Rock of Seattle. Go. You ready, Steve?
What happened?
To give you a clue what we're going to talk about next. Penny. Penny.
Gosh.
Yeah, we talk about Kaylee Cuoco. See what I did there? Penny. No? Okay, fine.
Could have used the wood on the table, man. It would have sounded better, I think.
I heard no, that's not wood. That's from, it probably would have sounded better.
Yeah, it sounds amazing.
Penny. Penny. Yeah, you're right.
Now I know what you're talking about.
Wow. That would have sounded better.
Yeah.
You're right. Okay, I lose this one.
At some point, the governor's just going to say that radio people shouldn't go to work either.
Yeah. Well, you're probably right.
For different reasons.
Yeah, exactly.
For poor performance.
The governor's absolutely right. Kaylee Cuoco, that's who I'm talking about, Penny. She just announced on Instagram that she and her husband, Carl Cook, who tied the knot back in 2018, have finally moved in together on Saturday. Not that I paid attention to her life. I knew she'd get married, but I didn't know they weren't living together. And she intentionally said, I will marry you, but I want to live separate lives.
So she's kind of like doing like what you did, but instead of waiting 30-something years, they just decided to just start off not living together.
Yeah, and I have to say, look, I think Kaylee's probably in her 30s, so I don't think her generation could tolerate me. Like if my wife was in her 30s and we were married and I was just the idiot that I was then, but I don't think my wife could have tolerated me either. My wife was raised in a different time, so she just could put up with an idiot better, I think, than, some people can today. And she says that, living these separate lives, Kaylee said that has kept her marriage to her husband strong. She said, even when Carl and I met and I knew I was totally in love with him and we wanted to get married, we both really like our own lives, and we actually like our own couches.
How close were they? I'm sure the story doesn't say this, but I'm curious, how close were they as far as proximity with their houses? I've
got that. 4.17 miles.
Okay.
I have no idea.
You know what I mean? It could be easy if, you just live down the block. But, if you live several miles away, I don't want to deal with traffic to see you. This is stupid. We should be living together.
See, I thought that would be cool because when I go visit my wife in California, she's got the apartment, but they also have other apartments you can get in the complex. And I thought, rather than try to get a bigger apartment, what if I just got my own apartment in the same complex so I could still hang with her, but then go in my own joint?
That'd be funny.
I would get a bigger place without needing a bigger place.
Right.
If I could afford both rents, that would be a solution.
So the two of you each have your own apartment, but in the same complex.
Yeah, rather than having to find, if you're trying to find a 4-bedroom apartment, that might be tough to do, but I'd rather, if a 4-bedroom apartment would be X amount of dollars, wouldn't 2 bedrooms be the same maybe? I don't know.
I don't know how these things work.
But that's what I was thinking.
A 4-bedroom apartment would be cheaper than renting 2-bedroom apartments.
Well, it's hard to find those bigger apartments, too.
That's true.
So that's why I was thinking, well, let me just think about out of the box. I think it's a cool idea because I do like my own space, and my wife likes her own space. It's been almost, it's like our 7th year living apart, doing this lifestyle. And Kaylee is confirming to me that, okay, it's not just me. I think people are starting to realize if they have the means, not everybody, Steve, because you said, look, I could not live in a separate place than my wife. But some people, if they have the means, go, you know what? I think this is going to keep our marriage together.
Like,
and
even like I think about when we originally had, like, our house is set up, we have a TV upstairs. I can call it an office. We do no work in there. It's just kind of
right. So nice try.
Just a lack of better term.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh, cool. I'll have like the TV set up in there with the Xbox. That way, when I want to get away and watch my own stuff. But there's never been a time in our relationship where I'm like, I'm going upstairs and I'm not going to be around you so I can watch television not with you. You know what I mean? Like, if she's not around, I'll go play video games or something like that up in that room. But if my wife's around, I want to hang out with her. I want to be next to her.
Yeah, and I have to say this, and this is why I really, really like what you said, because you know yourself. Your wife, she knows herself. And the trouble is that America goes, well, everybody does it this way, so I should do it this way. But that's really a bad formula. If you're talking about trying to have a lasting monogamous relationship, you got to figure out what makes you tick. She's got to figure out what makes her tick. Whoever your partner is, and then live that way. Because I give Kaylee credit. She said, look, I had past failed relationships. I didn't want that again. Because this is I think her second husband, and I don't know how many boyfriends she had before that she didn't feel was successful. And that's where she was like, I'm going to do it this way because I want the marriage to work and I know who I am. I want to have my own couch. I want to have my own space. And I gather that contributed to the problems in previous relationships, that she just didn't have the distance she wanted. My wife's the same way. She actually wants to be by herself and away from all the energy that, well, I bring to the table or anybody would bring, you know, and eventually, this is so funny. After the 2 years of separation, her and the husband said, let's talk about building a house together and living in it. Which is interesting because Kathy and I have had more conversations like, you know, it might be kind of cool to live together again. But it's been 7 years. I am a completely different person, as is she. It could be like, all right, we both learned how to be cool to each other, and maybe this would be fun to live together now that we're both not crazy people, or at least you aren't.
How do you roommates, a.k.a. your daughter and her man, feel about this, though?
I know. We haven't checked in with them. As you know, that's so important.
She's not down with you.
Yeah, I know. It's important that I check in with my daughter, who is, you know, pretty much should be on her own, but is not because she's going to live with her father forever.
I feel like mom needs to reach out to your daughter and make amends and figure this all out to get her approval and her blessing to move back into the house with you guys.
Oh, I think Sarah likes the things just the way they are. I don't think there's any amount of amends that can be made. Like they could get together and make amends, but Sarah likes the living arrangements.
So she's the queen bee right now.
Yeah, she's the queen bee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't want another queen walking in.
This is, Steve, you bring this up, but it's so true. Like, you know, when a mother and a daughter get to an age where you know how women are, just like men, it's like there can only be one father, only one patriarch. There can only be one matriarch. So these two women, Sarah's getting close to like, I'm running this house. I'm in charge of both of these men. Kathy comes back. Oh, it wouldn't be good.
Oh, Sarah. All right. The question.
Okay.
Mom says, I want to move back in. What's your answer? And she asked for your permission.
Please don't, Mother. That would be my answer. That was kind of nice. I added a please in there, right?
What if you guys really were buddies, and you were really buddies? Do you still want her in the house?
No, I don't, actually.
Yeah. Why?
Even when she visits, I think the difference between having 3 people and 4 people is a huge shift, for sure. And then, I don't know. She's home a lot. Dad, you're not home a lot. So it's awesome. J-Rubs and I kind of have the house to ourselves almost every weekend.
He's off board gaming.
Yeah.
So are you worried about this coronavirus stuff? He's going to be shut in more.
Oh.
No, I honestly, until the governor says, BJ, don't go out, I'm going to find a way to go play board games.
But where are you going to go play the board games if all the bars and restaurants are closed?
Oh, dude, you don't understand.
Some underground.
No, my friends, their home setups are just as good as any bar or whatever. I mean, they got great facilities for board gaming. We just go to Zulu's to support them. We could easily do it at our homes, but we realize, hey, let's help support a business. Let's, and plus they're great people over there. But if we need to, Steve, I can accommodate 20 people in my house, so I'm still under the 50.
Mr. Flattening the curve over here.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying, our friends, my buddy Byron,
curve inflator.
Well, my buddy Byron's, he's got a setup that's insane.
Yeah, you and Byron, both curve inflators.
Yeah. What is that? I don't even know what that means.
The whole flattening the curve. Less people go outside, it brings down the curve, and less people get corona, and then all of us live happily ever after.
Oh, so what you're saying is
in layman's terms.
Oh, okay. So you're saying I'm ruining it for everybody.
You haven't seen that little graph with the big whoop?
I have.
It's all over the news.
Well, so what is this graph? No, I actually haven't been paying attention to. What's the graph saying?
With the little thing that looks like a stiffy.
Okay, so... so the yellow stiffy is what happens when we don't do something.
Right, we're all outside, we're all spreading the disease, right?
Board gaming.
Like touching each other and doing weird things.
Yeah.
The less people go outside, all of a sudden that curve goes down, so less people are being infected. That means less people have to go to the hospital.
Oh, well, I'm going to tell you something right now.
So you're a curve inflator.
No, I'm not a curve inflator.
You're not flattening it.
No, here's what. No, hold on. I would like to argue with that because last week I was told crowds are 250. 250 goes okay. So 249, you're okay, PJ.
Did you read the fine print? There's still like all these different little.
Well, I don't know. He said the number 250. Yeah, but here's what I did.
Distance from each other.
Exactly. You know what I did?
What?
Every place I've been this weekend, there wasn't more than 50 people. There might have been less. So I already was at the 50 before anybody even heard of the 50. And I was socially distant because that's my nature. I socially distance myself by speaking to people. They just normally want to be away from me.
But you're there. Spreading the disease.
What am I spreading? No one touches me. No one talks to me. People just go avoid the crank in the corner.
You guys are all touching the same game pieces, the same cards.
And then when they start playing that yelling game, you're like yelling and spit flies everywhere.
Okay, that is the one valid viewpoint that you guys have.
I'm seeing that curve get thicker.
But I will tell you, Steve, honestly,
super thick. It's a big girthy curve now.
Dude, it was insane. Every single person we were board gaming with, though, had their own hand sanitizer because you're absolutely right, touching the pieces. So we were like, every time someone goes, all right, I'm gonna go past go, and then you just wipe your hand.
Why do you guys use like the tongs?
Oh, I hadn't thought about the tongs.
That's a good call. Game playing tongs.
Oh, that's the next Kickstarter.
Gamer tongs. Let's do this. Hurry up. Let's do it before someone else does.
Okay, Steve, as usual with all your ideas.
This is the one.
You have no idea how to execute this.
This is a good one, though. But this is the one I think no one else has done yet.
All right, listen, Rev.
Everything else I've come up with, someone else is like 30 billion people have already come up with that idea.
Contact Sean at Thing 12 Games. He's already our Kickstarter guy. He's on the Board Game Alliance with a Z.
We're going to throw someone else into this?
He's the one that will help us kickstart it. It's our idea. You have to fund it, execute it. You have to do the stretch goals. You know nothing about that.
I don't.
It's a lot of work, man.
Yeah, so Sean will do it. He's already made a couple of games that way.
How much percentages is he going to ask for?
Oh, Sean, you know what? Really,
6.9.
6.9%.
Yeah, no more than that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You know where? Yeah, we'll negotiate a good deal for you.
We'll start at 5 because he's going to demand more.
Wait, let me ask you a question.
Can I ask to it?
How much do you think you should be paid for an idea? Because you're not going to do anything, right? You literally will do nothing to contribute to the execution of this project. How much money do you think you should get for this?
All of it.
That's why you're not in business. People buy the idea and then they execute it.
50%.
Yeah, 50. No, that also is not how business works. The idea guy who
had I not come up with the idea, we would not have it.
Do you understand how
I'm the reason why you're making money?
No, you're not. You are not the reason why we make money.
Who else was coming up with this idea?
It's not the idea. The idea is not as valuable as you think.
Oh, it is. Without the idea, there's nothing else.
Yes, but here's the thing. Without somebody who isn't lazy like you and will actually they'll do something. Just like, for instance, the guy that created Magic the Gathering, he made a good amount of money, but really Peter Atkinson's and Wizards of the Coast, he's the guy that executed it and put it into play. He made his whole company made a lot of money. He was not the idea guy. He was the guy that said, I will do the work you don't want to do, Steve. I will actually make it.
I could find thousands of non-lazy people. Find me one lazy person that came up with this idea. This one.
You know what? If I was just sitting in a board meeting and I heard you say that, I would be like,
I'd walk out.
You drop that mic, Steve.
I would drop that mic and I'd come back to me when you guys get this done.
You know what? The first thing that flashed in my head.
Here's my routing number for my bank account.
You know what just flashed in my head? What flashed in my head was Will Smith telling the story how when the Wachowskis came to him and pitched him The Matrix, and he said, I thought these guys were high because they were trying to describe their idea.
Steve all of the time with this.
This is Steve just talking. Here's
Steve
Will Smith.
Mikowski.
I'm gonna pass on this idea and go make Wild Wild West. I'm sure that's a better idea.
We have someone that says, I will 3D print these game tongs. All right, we'll save your number.
Game tongs.
Yeah, but here's the thing. That'll cost you some cash. It'll cost you more cash.
Oh, yeah, he's providing the service.
No, we got to go to China. I know that they think 3D printing is better, but you want to mass produce these.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and 3D printing is going to be too expensive for that. You got to go to China to get this made.
I don't know if right now China's the right place to go.
It's the only place that's the only place they make board games. Every damn board game
shut
made in
down
China
there right now.
Well, listen again. This is a Kickstarter thing. You want to pay extra money for the 3D thing? It's going to cost you. See, you don't know any of this.
We'll make tiers.
That's why you're right. You see, you're right.
Like, okay, you can get the $7 one made from China. We have no guarantee when that's going to be made.
Do you understand?
Or you get the $30 one made from the Texter at the 206, and that one costs more, but we guarantee it'll get done because he has a 3D printer.
Hey, look at that problem solver.
Yeah, and how much profit are we going to make?
Look, we're not doing it for profit. We're trying to keep people
Texter's only
safe.
getting like $10 for every
I swear,
$30
you and
thing,
Rev are both the both of you together. You know what? Seriously, our company just went bankrupt before we even started.
Well, who's saying that you're part of our company?
Yeah.
The board has talked, and we've decided to vote you out.
Sorry.
So I brought the Kickstarter expert, and you're getting rid of the guy who brought the guy that will help you Kickstarter.
Yeah, you served your purpose. We're done with you.
Yeah, thank you very much for your service.
Oh, I got news for you. This guy is already done with you, too. Once he hears you two geniuses in the first board meeting, he's not going to Kickstart your product.
He'll be fine with it so long as he sees dollar signs, and that's what we're going to provide.
Dollar bills, y'all.
Dollar.
Honest to God, I love both of you as you just throw out catchphrases from every song and movie you've seen. And that actually you think is going to make you money.
Show me the money.
See, this is why people who actually make a living and earn a living and have a business hate the rest of people like you that go, there should be this, there should be that. And they're like, you guys don't have a clue. You come up with the idea is not the important thing in anything.
It is so important.
It is really not.
Without the idea, you have nothing.
Thank you.
I am telling you, if you read any business book, they will tell you.
We're busy making money.
Okay. Making mad ducats.
You know what? You guys are at the level of the two sanitizer guys from Tennessee. That's what you guys are. Congratulations.
Katongs.
Yeah, katongs. Go
katongs.
Ahead.
I love it.
Yeah, go ahead, make them. Go ahead.
Katong.
All right. Would you like to eliminate stress? I would. I'd like to fire 2 people on this show, and I would be happier. Well,
we won't need a job when we're printing money.
Yeah, you're
printing money
with your 3D printer. I hate both of you. All right. If you'd like to eliminate stress and be happier, well, there is a certain app that you will need to remove from your phone if you want less stress and more happiness. What app is that? I'll tell you at 8:17 on The Rock.
BJ and Migs, mornings on The Rock, 99.9 KISW.
For the last 75 seasons, the NBA has been getting greater. It's been crossing over, crossing borders, bending minds, breaking barriers, and shattering expectations. Because if the league's taught us one thing, it's that we can't predict anything. So don't miss 1 minute of the 75th anniversary season, where greatness lives on in every game. Visit NBA.com/75 to learn more.
99.9 KISW, The Rock of Seattle. German researchers have found that people who reduce the amount of time they spend on Facebook end up smoking less, they end up being more active, and feel happier in general. Just at the perfect time where people have to stay home, and what are they going to do but probably get on Facebook?
Play on social media.
So does that mean then that they're going to even be worse? Is that what somebody like,
oh, dude, I thought political, tangents on Facebook was bad. Right now, it's going so much misinformation, and everyone just believes anything that they see in a meme and whatever it may be with this coronavirus stuff. I've unfollowed so many of my friends, and maybe one day I'll refollow them, but it was just like every day they're just spouting ignorance. And it's just like, if you don't know fully, do what we do. And we don't really talk about it. We just kind of joke about it.
Yeah, really. Well, people go, why are you guys only talking about food? It's the only thing we know.
That's the only thing that we feel confident in our knowledge about.
That's it.
But you know what I mean? Like, if it's like, obviously sharing your feelings and your thoughts, I think that's validated. But when you're starting to throw out facts that aren't facts, then it's like, I don't even want to look at this on my page. Like, if you're genuinely, bothered by this because you're a business owner or, you work in the service industry, I don't mind, that. When people are going on their tangents about that, I get it. I feel for those people. That's the worst. To think that your income is being affected by this and no one knows what's going to happen next. But when you're like, well, I just saw this meme that said XYZ about this disease and why are we worried? It's like, okay, you're not really helping matters.
Yeah, and I would like to say this because we do live in an area where people can be socially awkward, and we live in an area where people just feel a little too much pride. I want to say this. I mean, I said this yesterday with our board game group, because we have all sorts of different people there, and I don't know how many people are going to be or not going to be affected by the new things that keep coming out. Today, of course, it's like restaurants and bars are now not allowed to be open for dine-in. And I know a good friend of mine got laid off because she works at a bar. And I said, look, if you need help, please let everybody in your network know. Mm-hmm. Don't be too proud, because there might be some of us that can help, especially financially. And I'll say it again. If we can find any stories, just in general, if we see any stories of super rich people actually helping.
Oh, dude, there's so many basketball players. I got to give props to a lot of and hockey players too, I noticed too, all stepping up and paying the wages of the employees at the arenas. And it's been really cool. Basketball players are like 19 years old. Hockey players are like 18, 19 years old. These are young people that you would think, they don't really understand how much this is going to hurt somebody that's just, living check to check. And it's cool that they're paying. But then in the back of my head, I'm like, what? Like, it's awesome because they're multimillionaires. But it's like, it saddens me that the owners aren't thinking of doing this as well. Like, you would think like the billionaire owners would be like, you know what? I'm going to follow suit, and in fact, what we're going to do is double everybody's pay while they're off to help them out throughout all this. And
it is really a double-edged sword, because the only way the owners could do it is that they would have to take it out of their own salary. Mm-hmm. It's only because I get why they wouldn't want to take it out of the company, because then that could affect the stock prices.
I agree,
but it sucks because actually, I think they should be able to, and I think the stock market a-holes that would get mad over this, the stockholders should make statements. I really, really do. They should come out and they should say, we do not care if our stock prices go lower ourselves. We're not selling our shares. Because that's why we're in the big trouble that we're in, is that a lot of rich people are selling their shares. I'm not selling my shares because I'm in mutual funds. I haven't touched my accounts. I haven't said to my guy, I don't know how you do it, but sell everything off. I haven't said it. You know who's doing this? It's the super rich stockholder a-hole. And those are the people that should not be selling off their shares, and they should take the hit because they can afford to take the hit. But you're right, Steve. It's the employee, whether it's a high paid employee, but they're still only an employee. The owners should find a way to show us that the stockholders are going to take a hit.
No, more people like Mark Cuban. I mean, you got to give him credit.
Yeah.
The fact that he stepped up, he was one of the first to say, I'm paying my employees while they're off from work. Was it Griffin from, I think he plays for Detroit, Blake Griffin. He donated $100,000 to help pay a bunch of other players as well. Zion Williamson, who I think is like 19. He plays for the Pelicans. And then, I don't know how to pronounce his name, but is it Giannis Antetokounmpo?
You're asking the wrong guy.
Okay.
Yeah. Joey could tell you because he knows all the players if you really care.
Good old GA.
Yeah. Good old that guy. Good old GA.
Number 34 from Milwaukee.
Yeah, that dude. Yeah, so...
And the one guy even said it's bigger than basketball, and during this tough time, I want to help the people that make my life, my family's lives, and my teammates' lives easier. Me and my family, we pledge $100,000 to the staff, and that's from the Milwaukee guy, number 34, that I can't pronounce.
Yeah. So the two things I want to stress during the coronavirus time is, number one, if you need help when you're laid off or whatever, please ask all your friends, because they may know somebody that would want to do something. I said, look, please let me know. If I can do something for you, I will. Because... you don't have to help everybody in this world. You just have to help somebody. That's the key to helping everybody, is just helping somebody. Don't make it so global that you go, I can't take care of everything, and then you get all mad. You can do something for one person. That's all you have to do. Mm-hmm. And then if enough people do that, you will take care of everybody. And then, of course, if you need help, please reach out. Don't sit there and think you got to do it and suffer in silence. And I'm talking to you dudes, you lone wolves who are too proud to take a handout. You're killing yourself, which is killing the people around you because they're seeing you suffer. Please ask for help. The world wants to help you. They just don't know you need it. So don't sit there and complain about it. There are people that want to help.
Is this the deep thoughts that you had from earlier this morning that we've been waiting for?
No, that's actually a whole different thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then the second thing I would just like to say is, Steve and anybody else, just in friend groups, share the stories of how rich people are helping, because society needs to hear that. Because right now I'm seeing a lot of anti-capitalist. I'm seeing a lot of my stupid friends that are using this as a political moment to try to politicize this virus. And they're trying to say that money is evil and rich people are evil. I need to see more stories to show that rich people are actually helping, because they're the ones that can take the financial hit and then help people that aren't.
Look at what I did this morning. Granted, not rich.
Okay.
But you know what? I came in and I provided free M&Ms for anyone in the kitchen.
You did do that. That's
would want
amazing. Granted, it was just 1 pack of peanut
two
M&Ms.
packs.
And normal peanut. It was a normal size though.
Yep.
And then the little skinny thing you get for the holidays with the little
tube of M&Ms.
Yeah, you could have maybe brought in a couple of bigger bags.
That's all I had.
Yeah,
man.
but you're right. You started. You did.
I do have an extra bag of potatoes if anyone needs. My wife
Okay.
accidentally bought too many potatoes yesterday.
Well, from what I understand,
purple ones.
You
want them?
Yeah.
See, I'm already saying I'm doing it.
Is it somewhere in Ireland? Well, I know it's a corn cob you can wipe your butt with if you're on a toilet paper. Is there anywhere in Ireland somewhere where you can wipe it with potatoes?
Well, I'd rather someone use it to eat it, and then if they need to, then they could do whatever they want
Dude,
with
listen,
it.
desperate times.
All right, well, Vicky, I'll bring you a bag of potatoes tomorrow.
Oh, thank you.
I'm on a low carb diet, so the only thing I'm going to do with those potatoes is probably,
All right, I'll give them to BJ first, and then he'll give them to you.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, the skins. You don't need the skins. The skin. Yeah, I'll just use the skins to.
Okay, so what's your deep thoughts about all this? Remember, you told us
here's
earlier.
Here's what I want to know about my deep thoughts about all this.
Okay.
All right. This is anecdotal.
Okay.
But I
I'm so
remember
excited.
myself, and you remembered yourself, right? When we were in our 20s, we have this sense of recklessness, right? You remember what it was like to be in your 20s? You thought you could live forever. Everybody would tell you things, don't do that. And you didn't care. You go crazy. You do stupid things.
Sure.
I am noticing that in this coronavirus world. Everybody that I came in contact with yesterday who was probably 35 and under, they would not social distance. They were like, hey, they wanted to hug, they wanted to shake hands. And I'm like, dude, we're social distancing. Everybody who was 40 and
You need a shirt
over.
that says I'm social distancing.
Because you know what you're supposed to do, right? Social distancing is you don't touch people.
Right.
So all of the younger people just were like, hey, it's good to see you again. And I'm looking at them going, you know what's going on. You know, you're aware of the virus. And it's like, young people just don't feel like there's a problem and they're going to do everything. And they're doing everything they normally do. And everybody who was my age or even like maybe 40 or under, they immediately knew when I said, hey, how you doing? They immediately go social distance. Like they just knew it. And I think it's because as you get older, you realize, you know what? I got to be careful. I think there's something in the body that tells your brain you got to be careful the older you get.
Oh yeah, when you pull your back out from sneezing,
Yeah.
okay, it is a little bit. I'm not as indestructible as I used to be.
I mean, I used to sort of think that, I think there's a chemical that says be careful that's not there when you're younger.
Well, I just think all these like 20-somethings that you saw hugging and touching and not caring and feeling like, yeah, you know what, you're going to be fine. But I hope that none of them are the ones that are acting like that are going to go hang out with grandma and grandpa because that's the thing that you got to worry about.
And of course they're going to.
I mean, you're old, so
Yeah,
you
but
can get hurt from that.
But see,
stop hugging those young people, BJ.
But Steve, if they hug me and then I go see grandpa, that's the problem. It's like maybe they don't have a grandpa that they're going to interact with, but I might. You know, especially when you think about it, if you hug an older person, take a look at their peer group. They know people that are older because they're older. I mean, you know, so everybody, their life is older than a young person. And I think, dude, young people just have a sense of indestructibility that they don't feel like they got it because they get the same information you and I are, right? They're hearing the same thing.
Well, sometimes it takes a little bit longer for it to fully, I think, just comprehend. Because, I mean, at first we heard this information, like, oh, I'm fine. I have a good immune system, not thinking about the big picture. And then when you start reading a little bit more and then more news stories are coming out or whatever it may be, however you get your information, you start realizing, oh, it's not really about me. It's about the people I could affect. Then you start thinking about the big picture. I think maybe in a week or in a couple of days, those same people that think they're indestructible will still think they're indestructible, but realize, oh, it's not really about me. It's about the older people that are potentially getting affected by this. And I mean, for all, you know, there are some younger people or people in their 30s that have been affected by this in a way that's been not that great because there's some people that don't have the strongest immune systems that are also in their 20s.
The reason,
I think a lot of people are just selfish at first.
Well, see,
any news.
Here's what I would say. This is what I want to bring this up. You may be right, Steve, about people being selfish, but what if it isn't that? And that's why I wanted to see if people notice the same thing with young people like I did. What if it's just something in a person's brain that just makes them ignore what reality is because they think they're indestructible and it's just a biological thing rather than just selfishness? That's what I'm trying to figure out here. Because that's what I'm just, it doesn't mean that they're evil. It's just their brain isn't telling them what you and my brain is telling me when we hear information. Like I say to you, Steve, we need to social distance because of the reasons you said. Your brain and my brain go, oh no, we get it. We got to be careful because that's what our bodies are telling us in general to be careful. Young people, they're like, My body's not telling me to be careful in anything. I can survive anything, so the information isn't penetrating them because their body keeps telling them, you don't need to hear that information. That doesn't pertain to you. I'm wondering if that's a real thing. I don't know. That was just something I noticed. I would love to talk to a science person to know if it's harder for young people to process problems like this because they don't feel like anything will hurt them. Therefore, they ignore it completely, like their brain won't even listen to it.
Well, this is why we need to listen to Arnold Schwarzenegger more in life.
Yeah, I heard about this. How cool was that?
This is the most important part of all of this.
This is probably the way every message of any import should be given. It should be given by Arnold with his horses. That's all.
Have you seen this video on Twitter?
I've heard about it, but I have not seen it in person. I can't wait to see this.
It's ridiculous.
I mean, he's just got like these two little horses that are in his living room with him, and he's just hanging out and feeding them.
Okay, this is why I say any important message from now on should be delivered with Arnold with his horses.
See, the important thing is that you stay at home because there's a curfew now. Okay, no one is allowed out, especially someone that is like 72 years old.
Yeah.
After you're 65, you're not allowed out of the house anymore in California. So we stay home and we eat here. Right? Oh, yeah, that's yummy. I ate with the whiskey, and there's Lulu. Lulu loves carrots. Whiskey loves carrots. I just had my little bit of vegan food. Oh, that was yummy, huh? Oh, see, that's what we do. We don't go out, we don't go to restaurants, we don't do anything like that anymore here. We just eat with whiskey and with Lulu, we have a good time, we get entertained. Look at that beautiful smile she has. Huh? Oh, yes.
Oh, he is.
Oh, yes.
He is.
Yeah.
He has lost his damn mind.
No, he hasn't.
Yes, he has, dude.
Whiskey
Honestly.
and Lulu are the two cutest horses I've ever seen.
Yeah, but he's out of his mind.
What are you talking about? He's having fun with his horses.
You know what? I think Dave Wyman, and I'm going to give Dave Wyman, the former NFL player, and of course he does a lot of great stuff with the Seahawks. I think Dave Wyman said this, and I think he's absolutely right because Dave Wyman has been exposed to a lot of affluent people because of the fact he played football, and he said he feels the more money somebody gets, the crazier they become. And I really think there's something to be said for that. I mean, Arnold has lost his damn mind.
I don't know. Maybe the more money you have, the less you're willing to hide your craziness. You don't care anymore. You have all this money. You don't need to impress anybody.
Yeah, it could be.
And, first, I guess apparently it's a donkey and a mini horse. Someone said, get it right. My bad. My favorite part is no matter how rich Arnold Schwarzenegger is, he's still wearing promo items for clothing. He's wearing a Terminator t-shirt while all this is going on, which I'm sure he got for free.
Well, of course, he'll be back.
Boy.
That's what he did. That's why he wrote. He's just. But seriously, guys, the debates were last night. The president makes whatever speeches he's got to make about, about what's going on. The governor's got to make stuff but don't you think we'd all listen more intently if whatever news had to be delivered about the latest in the coronavirus, they just let Arnold deliver it with whiskey and Lulu?
Arnold or Gilbert Gottfried? Either one, I'm paying attention.
Wow, Gilbert Gottfried.
Yes.
I don't know if he's the guy. He kind of pissed people off a little bit, but, all right. But
he's a loose cannon. I like to listen to what he has to say.
Right, how about him? How about Gilbert Gottfried and Kramer? How about those two just getting a delivery message? I'm just saying they both, kind of piss people off with what they say. But I just feel like I would listen if he said, so anyway, the restaurants are closing.
He said not to go out. He said not to leave your house. And what are you doing?
Yeah, well, that's California. So far, old people can go out here in Washington State. Is that true, by the way, that they told old people there's a curfew? They can't leave their home?
It's a curfew. At a certain point, you have to, I think, go back in.
Yeah.
I think there's a curfew, or they're talking about having a curfew here, but now they're shutting down the bars. I don't know if they need to. Yeah,
I haven't heard of a hard curfew that if you're seen on the street, you can get in trouble kind of thing. That's what that word means to me, but maybe he just misspoke. But he said that old people over a certain age they're not allowed out of their houses, what I got from that video. I don't think we've got that here yet.
Because after you're 65, you're not allowed out of your house. I don't know if he was just saying that or what, but...
Well, they're stressing people who are over that age to not go out.
They're saying don't go out.
Yeah, it's not like martial law where they're going to round up all the old people.
There's a curfew, and you will not leave your house. I will send whiskey and Lulu out to get you.
If Sarah Connor only knew there was a way to stop the Terminator and it had nothing to do with shooting him.
No, just get him a little donkey and tell him he can't go out. I want him to deliver every message about the coronavirus from now on. I don't care what it is. I want Lulu, Whiskey, and Arnold to tell me what the latest is.
One of his animals is named Whiskey.
Yeah, I love that. That is so great. And don't forget, I had a nice vegan meal. He had to tell us that, too.
Carrots.
I had a nice vegan, okay. Yesterday, Steve, he did get this one wrong.
What American Idol judge just recently announced that she was pregnant?
Oh, Paula Abdul.
No.
Wow. Was it Randy Jackson?
Gosh, Ryan Seacrest.
No.
Jennifer Lopez.
No.
Oh. Do you remember?
Oh. What's her name with the hair? Katy Perry.
There we go. Congratulations, buddy.
Whiskey.
Her name is Whiskey, yes. You want a shot at beating Stevie? Got it, 206-421-ROCK. We're playing Beat Migs at 847 on The Rock.
Today's podcast was brought to you by Travis Gagne, bankruptcy attorney. Here's another question from a listener. How long is a bankruptcy going to affect my credit rating?
Of course, most of the time, by the time we're talking about filing a bankruptcy, the credit has already taken a huge hit. Chapter 7 is going to affect it more negatively than Chapter 13. Chapter 7 stays on your credit report for 10 years from the time you file. It usually takes 7 or 8 years for your credit scores to get back into the normal range in a Chapter 7 case. However, your credit will start to recover even in Chapter 7 after about a year. You'll be able to get credit again right away, usually before your case is even over. Chapter 13 stays on your credit report for 7 years and usually takes about 3.5 years for your credit to get back in the normal range. So Chapter 13 will mean your credit gets better much more rapidly.
Thanks, Travis. If you have more questions about bankruptcy, you can reach out to Travis anytime at choosetherightchapter.com. That's choosetherightchapter.com. Thanks for listening.
For the last 75 seasons, the NBA has been getting greater. It's been crossing over, crossing borders, bending minds, breaking barriers, and shattering expectations. Because if the league's taught us one thing, it's that we can't predict anything. So don't miss 1 minute of the 75th anniversary season, where greatness lives on in every game. Visit NBA.com/75 to learn more.